Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In the previous video, I completed fraud application using React Redux. In this video, I will try to explain Redux core libraries. In Redux core library, I will show how Asynchronous Redux perform and create one simple project using Redux. Also, I will try to discuss some important theory like action side effect, Redux middleware, types of middleware, third party of middleware, and Redux THUNK. First, here I only create one folder. Now go to the terminal. Open terminal and here type npm init/es. Now install npm install Redux and Axios. Also install Redux THUNK. Now here create one file index user.js. I want to show some user data. That's why I create user.js. Now here write some comments like action, action constant, and here write some constant face request save it. Now create initial state constant initial state equal to I want to show some users data, so write here users and empty array. I want to show the error message, so initially error message is empty and By default, loading should be false. Now here write down some actions. Constant paste post request equal to arrow function. Into the arrow function, write here return. In the action, type here write face request, copy this thing and paste it 3 times. After that, here write face post success and face post failed. And copy this face failed and paste it here. Also copy the face success and paste it also here. Save it. And here payload should be users. And in my previous video, I already discussed in our action two things happen. One is type, another thing is payload. So write users and face post failed. Here write error and type should be face failed and payload should be error. Now here write down another comment. Comment is action to make the request. So here create one face post face user face users equal to arrow function, create one variable face user and return async dispatch should be, write down dispatch here and into the return here write try and catch. Into the catch I want to show the error message, so write dispatch face post failed into the face into the face post failed here write error dot message. Save it and into the try block write here dispatch here write I want to write here face post request. Face post request constant data equal to await axios already imported, I think. Yeah, await axios dot get. I want to show this user's data. So where you find this user's data? First go to JSON placeholder, go to this link and down here have 10 users, want to this data, copy this link and paste here. When we show the data, we need to show the success message also. To showing the success message, right here this page post success into the phase post success, right here data, save it. Now action is finished. Now create here reducers constant post users reducer state equal to initial state, action and here I switch case, switch action dot type case should be first case request return. Into the return here I want to write here state. I want to collect the full state data. That's why I use here spread operator to collecting the whole data. And after that loading should be true. Yes, base success and return should be users. Into the users right here action dot payload and write also comma, give comma, and at last loading. Here loading should be false. At last in case phase failed, in phase fail return first right state error action dot payload and loading should be false here. Now create here store constant store equal to create store create store. Here user reducers, and now here I write apply middleware, and into the apply middleware here write THUNK. Yes, apply middleware THUNK. Now at last here write subscribe. In the subscribe right here store dot subscribe constant data equal to store dot get state, and I want to show view this data, that's why console.log, and at last write this page store dot dispatch says users. Now save it. Now run this program. Node user.js. Here you see 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 10 data came. Here 10 data came, and 10 data came successfully. Here users, into the users, here all the things are came successfully, and the console log result is user should be empty, error should be empty, users are empty array, error should be empty, and loading is true. Now I repeat these things what I did here. I show here how to retrieve the data from the JSON server. So here I first create action constant. Action constants are phase request, phase success, and phase fail. After that, I create here initial state. Into the initial state variable, I enter users should be empty array. Error message, I want to show the error message. Initially the error message is empty, and loading should be false. And after that, in the action here I show phase post request. Into the post request, in the action, two things are happened into the action. First is type, and second thing is payload. Payload mainly used to retrieve the data, collect or retrieve the data from the database or JSON server, anything. Payload mainly used for that purpose. So type is here type is phase request. In phase post success, into the phase post success here write type is phase success, and payload should be users. Payload should be users because here I write users should be empty. And if you see the data, here also the users. You see, so here I write users, and uh, at last, if any error came, I want to show the error message. Suppose here users 1 2 3 4, it should be error. If error message is shown or not, check. Here you see error message show. Request failed with status code 404, and loading should be false. In the action, I write here, not action, in the reducer, I write here when error message come, that time loading should be false. Here error message is action.payload and state is collect the data of users. So here remove 1 2 3 4, save it and run the program again. Okay, it's worked perfectly. Now at last create the store. Oh sorry, in the reducer here I create first, here I create one variable user reducer. In the user reducers, here two things, right? State and action. State should be initial state. In the into the initial state, I write here user empty array, error is empty, and loading should be false. And action, here write switch case operation. Into the switch case operation, first when we send the request, that time only state and loading should be true. When I want to show the success message, that time state user, here user action.payload, and loading should be false. Same as when if false or show any if I want to show the error message, that time loading should be false. Error is action.payload and state. Here I create a store variable. Into the store, here write create store. Into the create store, I use user reducer and apply middleware and THUNK. Why I write here apply middleware and THUNK? I describe it later when I read the theory that time. After the after the store, here I write subscribe. Into the subscribe, I show the I here console log that only the data, and here dispatch the store or dispatch face user. These things I write here to only show the users. Here I already create one PPT, Redux core library, Asynchronous Redux. First, action side effect. In Redux, have actions, reducers, and store. Here, actions have some side effects. First is data is never received or is received out of order. Second, it can make it difficult to debug our code. Third is the Redux store will not be updated or no change will be made to our application state. Fourth is reducer are immediately return a new data. New data, the correct action is dispatched without waiting for the action payload. So, first is data is never received or is received out of order, and second is it can make it difficult to debug our code. It can make it difficult to debug our code. Third is the Redux store will not be updated and no change will be made to our application state. Fourth is reducer are immediately return a new data. Immediately return a new data, and if the correct action is dispatched without waiting for the action payload. And here in this code I use apply middleware. Why I use apply middleware? Now here first we need to understand what is Redux middleware. Redux middleware is a powerful tool that can be used to customize and extend the functionality of Redux. Mainly Redux middleware used for customize and extend the functionality of Redux. And second is middleware is basically a function that takes an action and can decide how to handle it. Mainly action, how we can handle the action, the middleware decided this thing. I think it is clear. After that, middleware are two types: third-party middleware and custom middleware. Uses of middleware. Why we use the middleware? Handle an action. First is handle an action. Second is dispatch a new action. Create a side effect such as making API call. What I did in our project, we call the API. Log the action to the console or inside the browser, but using Redux DevTool extension. Middleware are used to enable advanced functionality in a Redux store that would not be possible with just a reducer alone. Means if when reducer alone, middleware are used to enable advanced functionality. Reducer cannot perform the advanced functionality. Middleware can do these things. And middleware are composed and executed within Redux store. Where I add middleware? In our store, into our store. So middleware are middleware are composed and executed within Redux store. Middleware are used to enable advanced functionality in a Redux store that would not be possible with just a reducer alone. And next is middleware are composed and executed within Redux store using apply middleware. Here I use apply middleware. Apply middleware. So middleware are composed and executed. How middleware executed? Using apply middleware function. Next is third-party middleware. Third-party middleware is Redux Logger. In Redux Logger, what is Redux Logger? Redux Logger is a middleware library of Redux, a popular state management library for JavaScript application. It provides developer with a way to log action and state changes that occur in Redux store. What does Redux Logger do? Why we need Redux Logger? We need Redux Logger because of debugging, performance optimization, third is development workflow, and learn. So Redux Logger is a valuable tool for developers working with Redux. I think it is clear. Again, I repeat this thing. Redux Logger is a middleware library for Redux. A popular state management library for JavaScript application, it provides developer with a way log actions and state change with a state changes that occur in Redux store. Why we need use uh, Redux logger? For debugging purpose, performance optimization, development workflow, and learning. These four things. So Redux logger is a valuable tool for developer working with Redux. At next is Redux THUNK. In our project here I use THUNK. THUNK come from Redux THUNK. Here you see Redux THUNK. When I start the project, that time I install Redux THUNK. This THUNK is came to Redux THUNK. Redux THUNK is a middleware that allow us to write asynchronous action. This is important line. Redux THUNK is a middleware that allow us to write asynchronous action. Here in this code, we here use when we fetching the data, that time we use asynchronous. So middleware Redux THUNK is a middleware that allow us to write asynchronous of action. How Redux THUNK works? Redux THUNK is a middleware library that allow us to write action creator that return a function instead of action object. First is to apply Redux THUNK middleware to the project store when we create it. This is usually done in the store configuration code. When we dispatch an action, Redux THUNK intercepts and checks if the action creator returns a function instead of action object. If an action creator returns a function, Redux THUNK call the function with the dispatch and get state function as argument. Here we use when we write the subscribe code. Here we use get state. Why we use get state? Because if an action creator returns a function, here action creator returns a function and Redux THUNK call that function. Redux THUNK call the function with the dispatch and get state function as argument. The function can then perform any asynchronous operation. It needs to be making an API call and dispatch one and more action based on the result of the operation. If the function dispatches an action, Redux THUNK passes the action through the middleware chain again, allowing any other middleware to modify it before finally dispatching it to the reducer. If the function dispatches an action, Redux THUNK passes the action through the middleware chain again, allowing any other middleware to modify it before finally dispatching it to the reducer. Next, fact about Redux THUNK. This is important thing. It is a function. I already told that Redux THUNK is a function action creator that return a function instead of an action object. And second is this function receives the dispatch method as an argument. This function dispatch mainly, but I write here this function receives the dispatch method Here I write dispatch method and as a argument is get state. Argument is get state and which allow us to dispatch action inside the function. This is often used when we need to perform as asynchronous operation. I already told this thing, such as making an AJAX request before dispatching an action. So I think this is clear to you all. So if you have any confusion, please leave a comment. I will try to replay all the comments. So that's all for today. See you in the next video. Leave a like and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.